Welcome to Journey Now, a podcast about following Jesus that takes on serious issues without ever taking itself too seriously. Each week, the pastors, staff, and friends of Journey Church in Brentwood, Tennessee, gather to catch up, share life together, and laugh a little. Okay, a lot. Maybe too much. But along the way, they also explore what it really means to bring heaven to earth, share Jesus' hospitality, and live cross-shaped lives. Part babble, part Bible, and occasionally even thoughtful and entertaining, this is Journey Now.
All right, punch it. It's 25. How are we going to fit all the words in?
Oh, we'll fit it in.
Tim's not here. You ready?
He's the chatty one.
Are we good? Okay. Hey, welcome to a Journey Now podcast.
Suzie is back.
And on fire.
Yeah. Suzie.
And Tim left us.
On fire for the Lord.
Yeah. You know what? 3/4 of us is the equivalent of half of most podcasts.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know how that works
Wow.
out mathematically, but I think that's probably true. Brad, I want to give a big shout out to you, buddy. Text me every Thursday when he listens to this. Seth Erre, big shout out. For you, Seth Erre, putting on the shades today.
Yeah, there it is.
On the shades. Yeah, I wear my sunglasses at night.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that by?
Corey Hart.
Yes! Suzie P. Lind.
Oh.
And last night...
I was going to say the Blues Brothers.
Nope.
Well, Seth Erre pulled out Judah P. Lind last night as well. So, evidently, just the Judah P. Lind.
He just mentioned him?
What's Judah's middle name?
Zand.
Yeah. So,
never mind.
It's Judah Zealand, actually.
Well, not to Seth Erre. P now applies to all the Linds. Okay, so if you're a Lind, your middle initial is P. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Suzie, how are you? We talked last week. You were not here. You had lost your dad.
Yeah. Lost my dad.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Yeah, it's been really sad. I mean, really sad. A lot more sad than I expected, you know? But for lots of reasons. But yeah, it's been hard. And I think, you know, like you go through all the things, right? All the regret, all the shame, all the, I wish I did this. I wish we could have had this conversation and, you know, all that stuff. But it is what it is, you know? And I now have no parents.
Yeah.
Which
that's a weird feeling.
Is like another layer
different. It is.
Of it,
it's a different.
you know?
It's a weird feeling.
Yeah.
It is.
I had a really complicated relationship with my dad, but I always knew my dad loved me in the best way that he knew how, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, he was supposed to be here in a couple of weeks. That's also heartbreaking, you know?
Yep. He was packing.
He was packing when he died.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So, yeah, I'm just processing it as much as I can process it without having, you know, having to get to be there and do all the things that you do when someone dies. So,
if you're a praying kind of person, probably I would imagine you'd appreciate
some prayers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's just a lot.
There's a lot.
We're not going to get into it all, but there's a lot.
Yeah, international issues.
Yep.
Literally international issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know my friend, one of my good friends I was talking to last week, she's like, I don't think I've known anybody who has been affected by world affairs as personally as you. Yeah. And I was like, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know? And I mean,
there's some truth to that.
Yeah. And it's probably why I am the way that I am about a lot of things. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. And then our sweet producer, Edwin, has shingles.
Yeah. And
for crying out loud.
We're really wondering why he's here.
And we're not talking about roof shingles.
We're definitely not touching him.
No, he's not re-roofing. He's not re-roofing anything.
No, he is not.
Oh, buddy. So, yeah.
He's got the virus.
He's got the shingle. I will say this.
That lays dormant in you.
Evidently. So Kevin.
Yeah.
Because you and I are advanced paternal age, when I turned 50, last week,
yesterday,
I went to the pharmacy. I got the shingles vaccine, and I got one shingle as a result of the vaccine in my eye. I did.
My eye. You had a sty in your eye.
Nope. I had a shingle.
You had a shingle in your eye.
And
is that similar to... Never
You're
mind.
such a delicate little flower.
All right, Seth. I'm sorry for what you're about to experience right now.
Delicate.
You are. You're delicate. When it comes to, certain
No.
things, you're delicate.
Like what? A shingle?
Yeah.
From a vaccine?
Yeah.
Really? Have I ever had shingles? No. How many have you had? I had one. How many have you had, Miss Suzie
I
Lynn?
had several in
I didn't
my
know you counted them.
30s, like my friend Edwin here.
That's all I'm saying. Who's the
is
delicate
in the
flower?
pressure cooker time of life with small children.
Who's the delicate flower? I'm just asking. Who had full blown?
I survived
I
it.
had one.
I survived
I
it.
survived one.
In your
You
eye.
survived one from a vaccine.
That's right.
Like,
In my eye,
I'm
though.
just saying.
I think it counts more.
So you had 2 styes.
So nope, just one.
Two
but
shingles.
it counts as it was one. He literally looks at mine and goes, "That's a shingle."
I
And I'm
also
like,
didn't mean that as an insult. I mean,
Nah,
you
I'm
come
gonna hear
across
that
as
as an
this
insult.
like
Listen,
big,
Suzie,
strong,
I'm well known as an alpha
guy,
male.
and I'm like, you're
Okay.
kind of delicate.
So just
You know,
to make
delicate
things
is a
clear,
guy.
I'm the only one in the room that hasn't had a shingle. I'm the
Let's-
only
Really?
one.
That
Yeah,
makes sense, though.
because Twizzlers the Diet Coke.
You're like, you kind of live on this like one, like,
Yeah. The
You know,
highs aren't
it's
super
not-
high. The lows
yeah.
aren't super low. But there's like, if you want to train pulling a load of coal over
I'm the guy.
a mountain,
That's right.
Yeah.
that's your guy. It's just gonna happen.
I can do it. I
Yep.
can do it. I can do it.
Absolutely. So, guys, we're playing hurt today. My feelings are hurt. He's got a shingle. Suzie, poor Susie's got so much going on. Oh, my word.
I did get my shingles vaccine, though, when I
Yes.
was 61.
Yes, sir.
I got it right after that.
Attaboy. That's
Yeah.
what they say.
Yeah, right
50
after.
or 61 is where you want.
yeah. I got mine when I turned 50.
This is
My
why we have
doctor-
a middle-aged audience.
My
Except
doctor
for
kept
Seth.
saying, you want the shingle vaccine? I said, no, I understand it's very painful.
Yeah.
It is very painful.
painful.
I said,
Feels
I
like
got a
someone
shingle
punched
in my
you the
eye.
arm.
No.
Yeah. It does.
I
It
broke-
does hurt.
I
It does
broke
hurt.
at 61. I was like, all right, fine.
Did it hurt?
Yes.
It
did.
does. It hurts.
Yeah, but he's not fragile. So the point we want to make today.
I didn't say
Delicate.
fragile. I said delicate.
Delicate.
Let's if you go back and
It's
listen
true,
to
though,
last
I'm not
week's
delicate.
podcast, which you haven't done,
No.
because you would have come in angry. We
I'm sure I would have.
given.
I just got done listening to your message
we
on
were
Sunday.
given. We were
we
giving
bad?
Nate. We were
Oh,
giving
yeah.
Nate marriage advice.
That's right.
Oh yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
about
that
right.
went well.
Yeah. So he did great. He's at home practicing. We just said, listen, man, if you're
Yeah.
ever in a heated argument, just say calm down or relax.
Yeah.
Those are the
That'll
things.
Those work.
Those things help.
Those are the best things.
Is he getting married?
No, but I mean, maybe someday.
No.
Okay.
Maybe someday. He's
Yeah.
been together with this young woman 4 years.
Yeah.
So 17 to 21.
That's how long Steve and I dated.
I mean, and look how you guys turned out.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a different. That's why Steve's not here.
That's why Steve doesn't listen to this.
Exactly.
podcast.
Yeah.
Or he doesn't listen to it.
He doesn't
either.
listen to anything.
She can't.
All right. So this week we dove back in.
Oh, we did.
To Ephesians.
Oh,
Yes.
we did. This is
And we
true.
got such good questions. We're just gonna jump.
Okay.
We're gonna jump right in, guys, because these are two we always get phenomenal questions, but these
Yeah, they
two
were really good this week.
really like top drawer. Kev,
top
punch it.
drawer.
Yes.
This is delicate.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
My question revolves around Ephesians 4:18.
Ooh.
I've often resonate with having a hardened heart.
Yeah.
Paul refers to having a hardened heart due to ignorance and being separated from a life of God, with God. I find that oftentimes I, and maybe others, have a hardened heart due to our previous experiences with the church and the conflicting message lifestyle I've seen and experienced from other Christians. Also, I believe our hearts can be harder from the shame Mike talked about that has a continuing to fall, that we repeatedly and continually fall into. Insert your addiction here. How do you free your heart?
Yeah. Yep.
That's
So,
a long way of asking that question, but I think
that's a great one.
It puts it into context because
Yeah.
you did talk about hardened hearts.
Yes. So, Paul mentions, he's talking about hey, Gentiles, non-Jewish folks, don't live like non-Jewish folks anymore.
Right.
Then he kind of describes the general condition of human beings.
Yeah.
And he uses this phrase, hardening of heart. And he's talking about it in a cascading description of loss of sensitivity, indulgence, the continual need for more. So that's where he's mentioning addiction. But
a seared conscience.
Wow. I prefer my conscience pan-fried, but yes. One of the things that
My conscience is delicate.
Who said that? Who said it? A
who?
seared conscience.
A seared
Do you
conscience?
remember?
No.
It's some
Corey Hart.
old dead guy.
Probably.
No.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Carry
No.
on.
It was but he's bringing up the idea of what happens when it's because of religious involvement that your heart has become hardened, because of shame attached to the things that you were doing that people now attribute to you, or because of religious hurt.
Yeah.
So Suzie, heart.
How do you free your heart?
How do you free your heart, Suze?
Oh, he put you on the
Well,
spot.
I mean, you have
it's
one
funny.
of the freer hearts.
My mind
that
went to so many different places in that. It's
Speaking
interesting.
of Corey
Okay,
Hart,
so
how
I'll
do you
just,
free your Corey
I'll
Hart?
I'll confess where my mind initially went.
Yeah.
And it
Ooh, I like
initially
this.
went to like all those, not all those, but those places in scripture where leaders and shepherds and teachers are cautioned for leading people astray. Like when the shepherds of Israel didn't look out for their flock, but rather looked for their own self-interest. So that's where my mind initially went. And I was thinking about like the result of a hardened heart is that, but then also yay for whoever wrote this question in, because they're taking responsibility for themselves, which is ultimately what we should be
Right.
doing, rather than blaming as I initially did for a second in my head.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's actually the first step, is releasing that, is somehow releasing, not holding. Forgiveness is something to definitely work through. And I don't think it's like something, oh, okay, I just need to forgive them and I will. I think it's something that you have to work through, especially at least in my experience of being hurt by, spiritual authorities and stuff like that, is you have to work through that forgiveness. And for me, I needed the help of a spiritual director and therapist and trusted friends. And it took me a while. So I needed to give myself grace for that period of time as well. Not excuse myself, but give myself grace that God is actively working in me to refine me through this and soften my heart through this, which I actually think he has, because I really do have a soft place in my heart for the oppressed and the oppressor in these situations. But yeah, so I think that's a big piece of it. And I think not ignoring it is a big piece of it. And I think re-entering at some point when you feel like you can, which obviously this person has, because they wrote in the question, but we say it a lot, that you're wounded in community and also you're healed in community, especially with these kinds of things. Like you have to experience the redemption aspect of that.
Yeah.
But it's a process. It's not just, it's a process. But if you're asking the question, how do I free my heart? Then I would say maybe you are being invited into that process, and it's something you should pay attention to and not put aside, because I think it would benefit you greatly to continue asking that question and talking to God about it and asking him, what does that look like? And what
so
do
are you
need?
saying just is freeing the heart a jailbreak or a process?
It's a process.
Okay. I think
so.
I think they're hoping for a jailbreak.
Some people do get a jailbreak. I mean, like, it's not out of the question. I mean, some people really do get a jailbreak, and sometimes it's a process, and sometimes in that process you feel I remember years ago when I first started coming to Journey and I was working through some of this stuff, I was going back to California to have an important conversation, and I had asked you to pray for me. Remember that? And we didn't really know each other well at that point. But I felt like I sensed that the Spirit was telling me to go and ask you to pray for me. So I did.
Hey.
And then I went,
and we prayed.
and you did. You prayed for me, and I went and I had that conversation, which I had waited 2 years to have, and it was really hard.
Yeah.
And when I left the home that conversation took place in, I immediately felt this like jailbreak feeling,
relief.
This relief, this lightness, this okay, like I think I've been able to let it go. But it took me everything that happened in those 2 years, I think, to get to that point.
Right.
So you can experience that, but I think the process is part of the work that God is doing in you.
Yeah. A cold stone heart isn't even going to ask this question, first of all.
Yes.
A hardened, like a truly hardened heart isn't asking that question.
Yeah.
They're asking different questions. A cold heart or a hardened heart would ask the question, well, how do I get revenge? How do I That's so good. How do I keep this in a compartment over here and never ever think about it again? So part of the softening of the heart is just asking the question, how do I get out of this place where I feel this way? I think the process of forgiveness is huge, but it's an ongoing process. It's not a once and done process. I think a lot of times people think forgiveness is, oh, I just have to forgive you and then we move on. But if you've really impacted my life, it's impacting me over and over and over again. Otherwise, I would have forgot about it. Otherwise, it wouldn't have mattered. And so there's a degree of, I have to do the work of forgiveness every time I engage the conflict with you or the thing that you did to me or someone else did to me. So I have to, in my heart, go, I'm agreeing to live with the consequences of this in my life and not hold it against them anymore.
But that doesn't mean you go back to be hurt again. It doesn't mean you're reconciled.
Nope.
Yeah, totally.
It just means you don't let it control your heart.
Yeah.
I think it can mean that you're reconciled, but not necessarily restored to the relationship.
Totally. I'm just saying, it took me a while to figure out forgiveness does not equal going back to the way it was.
Right.
Or it takes two to reconcile. If you have to forgive someone who has died or you're no longer in a relationship with, I mean, that's... So, it doesn't... I always thought forgiveness meant the restoration of all the things. And it was relief, kind of, not so much.
Yeah, part of it, too, for me, we happened to run into somebody that at a restaurant this last week that I had to do some forgiveness work around. I didn't feel obligated to go over and talk to him. I didn't feel obligated to... I felt really, honestly, nothing. So in my heart, I was like, oh, I think I've resolved this.
There's that.
There it is. The coal over
That's
the mountain.
That's why he doesn't have shingles ever.
Nope. He's got like in terms of gears, it's 1 and 2.
And the person came over to the table and said hi. I said hi. I wasn't rude or anything, but I really felt nothing. Yeah. So there wasn't a degree of like, it was a non-issue. It wasn't like I want to be friends again. It was more, all right. Inevitable, I'm going to run into these people, but I think resolve for me is how I react when I see them. Yeah, there are people that I still have to work at.
Yeah, I mean, you should have seen him on the pickleball court.
Oh, my word,
ladies and gentlemen, you should have seen it.
I mean, I'm just glad he's back on the pickleball court.
I mean, there was a Kevin-shaped hole in our hearts.
I was worried about what was going to happen if that was it. Game over.
No, because let me tell you, Kevin has 2 speeds on the pickleball court. One, first gear, and then 5th gear.
As he does in life.
It's either coming at you 100 miles an hour, or it's going to be a nice, gentle sort of
delicate
drop shot. Yeah, I'm with you, Suze. How do I free my own heart isn't an answerable question. You can't free your own heart. Like you have a part to play.
Yeah,
totally. You have a part to play,
and that's where the ownership and the curiosity
and the doing the work.
Doing the work is not something that I knew what to do with. You can tell me, hey, do the work, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Pray, read my Bible, and all of that is helpful. But I needed somebody to help sift and sort, and that process over years did lead to kind of a eureka moment.
Totally.
But it was the end of a process that was
I mean, for me, it was
Arduous.
literally therapy, spiritual direction, the 12 steps, you know, like, and naming like what's in me that allowed, for lack of a better way of saying it, that I was even in a position to experience that kind of hurt, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what was I trying to extract from the relationship
Right.
that put me in a place of,
Proximity.
you know, proximity or vulnerability to that kind of hurt, you know, like it's just so interesting when you think about all those things. And I think that's the beautiful work that God wants to do in us,
That's it.
you know?
And that, you know, it could involve repentance. It could involve
Absolutely.
like growing away from patterns of life that are enslaving. But there's also a sense where I just think community, as you were saying, is the only way forward.
Yeah.
And that sometimes we pay for that sort of expertise. Sometimes we have it naturally through friendships.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was what was so key, I think, for me too.
Cool.
And then we got
Okay.
another
Now,
doozy.
This one has a series of questions at the end. So chin up, pay attention.
Chin up,
Okay.
chin up.
I can believe that anger destroys us and the new way of being invites us into healing. But the particularly white evangelical church has a habit of policing the anger of women, and especially black women and victims of sexual abuse, over injustice and harm, often forfeiting justice in pursuit of order or niceness. So, like, what do we do with that? That is literally what the question says.
Yeah.
So, like, what do we do with that? How do we not repress our own anger or police others? How do we promote healing and allow people to pursue justice? How do we tell the difference between unhealthy anger and truth-telling?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Boom.
like
Yeah. Yep, that's
somebody
good.
sat there for a minute and was like,
Those are great questions.
I'm going to lob this over the fence
Yeah.
and see how it explodes on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the well-written question.
So good.
Well-written. All right.
Yeah.
So we do have a woman in our midst.
We
How does
do.
this land on you, Suzie?
I mean,
The
yes and amen.
Yeah.
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 I mean, yeah, like I always feel like as a somewhat spirited woman.
Oh.
Boy, that's an under.
Is that what
I
we're
mean,
saying?
yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
do. Like, I feel like I'm constantly reevaluating my behavior and tone of voice, and
Yeah.
because I'm often,
You don't want to be.
yeah. And even in my own family, I have to, like, you know, it's my tone, you know, but it's not like my tone to me is not what it's being received as,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And so like, then when you do get angry and you do have feeling, you know,
Yeah.
it's like you have to, well, women who get angry are definitely not received in the same way as men who get angry. It's just definitely not.
There's a double standard.
Absolutely. Especially
Okay.
in the
Church.
church, you know?
Yeah.
Like, especially.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
thankfully we're not in a environment where there's a lot of anger, but I mean
You should have seen Kevin.
we joke about all the time, like there are things that you do on stage that I would not be able to do on stage, I think. You know,
Shorts and
Just
flip-flops.
as a-
shorts and flip-flops, for example, you know.
I mean,
But like,
yeah,
I
because
just,
I'm a man.
yeah,
that what you're
I
saying?
think
Yeah.
so. I
Yeah.
think so. And I just think it's just received differently. It's always been received differently. And so I think for women, and then, yeah, black women for sure, like, and black men too, you know, like,
Yeah.
like I have a good friend who is, you know, an amazing human being with the kindest, softest heart. And he's really passionate about some things
Sure.
around race. And,
Yeah.
and when he talks about it, he's always, you know, concerned and acknowledges that he is perceived as an angry black man for saying these things. And, you know, so it's not just the women, it's also the men. But I think for the women, it's particularly,
Is it a cultural, is it, she specific, this was a woman who wrote this, but she specifically calls out particularly white evangelical church.
Yeah.
Is this
well, because we're told that we're supposed to have a gentle and quiet spirit everywhere we go. Like that's the vibe. The vibe is be submissive, have a gentle and quiet spirit.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Be quiet.
Yeah. I mean.
So is it different in? I'm just going to ask. Is it different in the black evangelical church?
Well, I'm not part of the black evangelical church, so I don't know.
I wonder if it's different.
But I have been told by my friends who have been part of the black evangelical church that the black evangelical church would not exist were it not for women. Mm-hmm. So
it's different.
I don't know. I mean, I can't answer that because I'm not part of that community.
Yeah, it's part of the struggle, isn't it?
Yeah.
So.
But I do think though that from what I know about and my experience in friendship with black women is like the way black women talk to their children is very different than the way white women talk to their children. Mm-hmm. And if a white woman talked to her children the same way, it would be not received well. Whereas it seems like to me when a black mama has something to say to her kids, they listen. And there's no no back talk. There's no anger that's being worked through in therapy afterwards. I have not seen that. I could be totally 100% wrong, but that is my observation as someone from the outside. But I don't know. I can't speak for them in the church and what it's really like for them.
So if we take this question to heart and we ask the question, what has to change in the white evangelical community for this to lose its stigma, to lose its, because we're agreeing with her with this question. We're agreeing that there's a problem. We're agreeing that there is, and what to do with that. I would like to be part of the solution for that. I'd like to be part of
maybe I should just go up and rage in front of everyone and we can just normalize it.
We'll call that spoken word. Spoken word, Suzie. Yep. Rage Against the Machine. 5 minutes in the PCO script for Sunday.
So there's some truth to this, what you just said. To normalize something, but we are not a church, though, that really... We aren't. We don't preach in a way that invokes anger.
No, but there's been multiple times where I've come to you or gone to someone on our staff and said, I'm sorry if I was too intense. I've felt the need to apologize for being too intense because... And
what was our response?
That I wasn't.
Okay, you know? I thought so.
But also, part of our rapport is you guys joking about... when I said I'm spirited, you're like, that's an understatement. Part of our rapport is that. Mm-hmm. And I love that. I'm not complaining about that.
Right.
But it's it's.
But it's also part of the gift of you.
It's
it is.
We don't want to repress. We don't want that to be suppressed in you.
Right.
Well, it's not ours to validate or not.
Right.
It's one of those things where it's do you disagree with that? Because I saw your brain go somewhere.
I think that's really interesting because it isn't for yours to validate or not. However, women have always needed validation from men in church in order to,
to do anything.
Yeah. So there's that.
So Paul's instruction is do not be angry.
I don't know.
Do not sin.
Yeah.
So the anger part, that's
legit.
Not the problem.
Yeah.
And I think, about why it is we can't handle anger from women. That has to be a cultural conversation / hangover / theology issue.
From patriarchal.
Yeah. Strands of Christianity that really see women as overly emotional. And so, there they go again. Or, they should be gentle and quiet and all of that. And that's why,
One of the best explanations for all of this is found in the Barbie movie.
Oh, yes.
When that one scene where America Ferrera goes off about how
yep.
difficult it is
Yeah.
to be a woman.
Yep.
She addresses
All
this
the
in the middle of that.
Yeah. That was
And
powerful.
that was really powerful. I mean, when I sat there in the theater with your daughter,
Yeah.
I cried.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, that's what it is. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so sorry, go on to the solution.
No.
You were going to solve the problem?
Oh, Lord.
That was a
Yeah,
good,
I mean, okay.
Good. That was
Sorry.
All right, we're going to watch the Barbie movie.
Yeah, that's step one. Step one. I'm always just challenged by Jesus's anger, and I try to ask the questions: what did he get angry at, and what did he do with his anger? And so, if you look at the places where he got really angry, like one time there was a man with a shriveled hand, and it was injustice. You know, they were the rules were you couldn't heal the guy on the Sabbath because it wasn't life threatening. And Jesus has the guy stand up and he looks around in anger. And the word there is hot. It's not like unemotional sort of like steady opposition. It was hot. And he heals the guy. And so I'm always confronted with, okay, what do I get angry at? Is it just personal convenience or dumb offense? Or all the privilege, you know, that gets intruded upon by real life? Or is it injustice? Is it hypocrisy and religiousness, the things that Jesus got mad at?
Yeah.
And then does my anger lead me towards blessing, healing, truth-telling? And so that's one of the ways I think, I never knew anger had a part to play in the Christian life.
Well, and also like in Plumline, we talk about anger as not always being a bad thing. Anger is also
right.
passion.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of anger to tell the truth about this thing. Like I personally have a lot of anger for creating a world in which racism is eradicated.
That's right.
And I don't think that's going to happen in our lifetime.
Yeah.
But I still feel that anger come up in me. And so when I get angry in a situation, I have to decide what to do with that anger. Am I going to be destructive with it, with my words and all that? Or is there a way for me to use my anger to tell the truth about something in a way that is compelling or
the
whimsical?
anger isn't the issue.
The anger is not the issue.
That's
what I
big
do
point.
with the anger and how I channel that anger and all that is what matters. And
I heard somebody say, I don't know if you've heard this, either of you, but one of the questions you should ask about what you should do with your life, how you spend your life, is what makes you angry.
yeah.
Instead of just, okay, what's God's will
Yeah.
and what
Or
do I
what
like?
makes you happy?
Follow the pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what is it that really,
Yep.
I remember I was watching Bill Maher. Do you remember way back in the day, he would have Christians on.
Science guy?
No,
Oh,
that's
no.
Bill Nye.
Bill Nye with a sty in his eye.
Yeah. Shingle.
But he would have Christians on that were just the most inarticulate. And I remember being in college just so angry, like, why don't you have somebody on there who's intelligent?
Yes.
And I remember just that little flare of like, I
Yeah.
want to understand this and be able to articulate this
Yes.
for people like that. And that bit of anger led to a whole thing. I mean, and same with you, Suze. I mean, you're like that track of passion leads to so much good. And so, the idea of one of the questions to ask is what does really make you mad is a way to kind of discern, possible ways to spend life.
Yeah.
That was new to me.
Yeah.
That's good.
Because it doesn't have necessarily a moral quality until you act on it.
That's right.
Then it has a moral agency to it, what you do with it.
Yeah. And then when I look at my friend Kevin,
Oh, no.
and I look at the anger for bad drivers,
Oof.
and I go, okay, that's the good anger.
Yeah.
And
Railroad drivers.
yes. Yes. No. I think that's the surprising point of Paul is like, there is a place for anger in the Christian life.
Oh, yeah.
But I just didn't know. I didn't know. I thought it was totally destructive.
Both your points are fantastic. I mean, it moves you to a place of asking the question of, can I do something about this that is good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, for all the women out there, my therapist recommended a really great book to me a few years ago called The Dance of Anger.
Ooh. Is that specifically geared towards women, or is that for anybody?
Yeah, it's for women.
Okay. All right. Great.
The dance of anger.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it.
I'm thinking about what that would look like. And
it's a little like the Macarena, but
no.
On
that beautiful note.
On that
serious.
note, yeah.
Good Lord.
That
Edwin,
is not
get
the
out of
dance
here.
that popped
Be
into
healed,
my
Edwin.
mind. And
Be
we
healed.
are out.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Journey Now. If for some bizarre reason you liked it, help us spread the word by leaving a review and sharing it on your socials. Journey Now is a production of Journey Church in Brentwood, Tennessee. Edwin Rivera III produces the show and fixes all the guest slurping, gum chewing, coughing, and other annoying sounds. Randy Hansen provides technical assistance, even though he denies it. Grant Opperman edits Journey Now and intervenes when necessary to tell the crew that you can't say that. Special shout out to dear listener Brad Erre and dear YouTube watcher Seth Erre. If there's anyone else who makes it through each week, we're so sorry, and thanks to you too.